Fireworks, the 4th of July, just a couple of days away. This is the time of year when a lot of people face the risk of fireworks-related injuries. One study is showing us that they'll happen even well after the holiday. So here with some ideas on how to maybe be aware of it yourself and also protect your family when it comes to fireworks. Dr. Lance Wilson, good to have you, Doctor. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about the most common types of injuries related to fireworks. People can probably, in their mind, imagine what that would be.
Yeah, by far the most common injuries are to the hands and to the face, actually, and burns are the most common type of injury. You know, the rare things like blowing a finger off or having a big problem with your vision are luckily pretty rare. Burns are by far the most common.
But they do happen, right? And this can also cause maybe things like fires that would lead to other types of injuries that an ER doctor might see.
Yeah, and especially with our current conditions. I know we've had some rain, but it's still, you know, a lot of the state is under severe drought conditions, and most of the state is at least pretty dry. And so you're right, you could start a fire, and that fire could lead to other injuries.
Now, as far as extremities go, why would you say that happens so frequently? What is it about it that people are not doing right?
Well, partially is we handle the fireworks with our hands, we light them with our hands, and so our hands are in close contact. And then people hold sparklers, for instance, are a common cause of injury in kids that people don't think about. They think they're really safe, and they're relatively safe compared to other options. But those things burn at almost 2,000 degrees. And so a burn to the hand is not that unusual. And then also those things can start clothing on fire and cause burns in other ways.
So is it just about common sense in this case, or is it really about staying away from them ultimately? You know, watching public displays, for instance.
Most websites that you'll go to that recommend safety things with regard to fireworks would say that kids really should be away from them and shouldn't be handling them, and that really should be left to adults. 1 in 4 kids that gets injured from a firework is actually not even handling the firework, they're a bystander and they get injured that way.
All right, with kids or with adults, what are some steps that we can take to avoid injury?
So we need to have water around, right, because we don't want to start a fire. Need to avoid loose clothing, because that can be a problem. Need to have something that's safe to light the fireworks with, of course. And then you need to be aware of the surroundings, as we talked about, and trees and bushes and what might start on fire that's nearby.
It's about playing it safe and really thinking about what you're doing. I mean, if it's going to be out in an open area, again, as you're saying, make sure that things aren't around it, that kids aren't nearby, and parents, it sounds like, really have to do their part.
Yeah, because kids are the biggest group that gets injured. In 2012, there were about 9,000 ER visits across the country for firework-related injuries, and they're not all just on 4th of July, right? They happen before and after. But of those, about 40% were children, and of those, most of them were under the age of 15. So it's really younger kids that tend to get injured. So we really need to be cautious about what we're doing with our kids around fireworks.
Makes so much sense. So with your expertise and the things that you see not only in the ER but in local practice, are there specific types of fireworks that you would say stay away from?
Well, you know, bigger, obviously there's some increased risk, but I think people are probably a little bit more careful when they're dealing with the bigger ones. They probably are a little bit more relaxed when they're dealing with just firecrackers or bottle rockets or sparklers, and those are actually the most common causes of injury. So really, any firework is dangerous. We have to be very cautious with any of them.
So when you have a group of people over, it's important to note, we have some video of some that are available, and there are ones that are legal in the state of New Mexico, so we have to make sure we say that, but those are the ones that you want to handle carefully. The illegal ones you got to stay away from, of course, and that's what firefighters would recommend. But in the end, it really is about, I guess, just maybe going to the public shows if you don't want to do it.
And I think that would be the safest option, right, is to go and leave this to the professionals. We saw, you know, how complicated that is and what time and effort it takes to set those things up correctly. They're really the professionals, and we really should just go and hang out and enjoy those, in my opinion.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. All right, Dr. Wilson has a recap of all this. We're going to have a link to it on KRQE.com. More information there, CPSC information too, if parents are interested in that. Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate it. Good to have you there. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.